Show that showcases some of the best and most exciting startups across the Asian startup ecosystem. My name's Graham Brown. I'm joined in the studio after a short break, a good friend, MJ Kumar from the InsightzClub team. Last time we met, well, I think it must have been a year and a half, 2 years ago. MJ, how are you doing?
It's been great. Yeah. So last time when we came here, it was more than a year now. So yeah,
Yeah.
it has been really a great after that.
Well, we met in different circumstances. You came to the studio in Singapore when,
Yes.
in the days
Yes.
when you could travel. Obviously, things are a little
Absolutely.
bit
Yeah.
different now. But
Yeah.
today you're in Kuala Lumpur
That's true.
and a lot has happened. So maybe before we jump into Insights Club today, let's do a quick recap. I actually, to be honest, the first time I met you, I've got to say, was not in the studio, but at Murudi.
That's right.
Uh,
Yeah.
you were doing,
Yeah.
I think it was the demo day that
It
you
was the Morudi demo day. Yeah. That's right. Yeah.
in the beginning.
Yep.
That was,
Yeah.
well, no, you had been going for about a year then now, right? Is that right?
Yeah.
So
So yeah,
take
the
it
first
back.
time, yeah, the first time we met was the Morudi demo day when you came to that, and then we had a quick catch up.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So that was the first time we met together. That's
Oh,
true.
that was
Yeah.
more than 2 years ago, right? That was two and a bit years ago, or maybe two.
It was
Around
it
about
was
then.
mid of 2018, I would say. Yeah,
You
yeah.
really aced that demo day. I remember everybody talking about you guys afterwards. You created a buzz. What did you
Mm.
do at the demo day that got people excited? Because
We,
yours was the startup everybody was talking about.
I think we have been doing pretty well ever since we started. Obviously, because of many ways. Most of the time I would say that the startups start with idea, and then you develop it, and then you develop, and then finally you go and then sell.
Hmm.
Our approach was totally different than everyone else in the market, and we are still different than everyone else in the market. So we believe in that, hey, let's not develop something and then sell. Let's develop, use it, experience it, and pivot it, and then innovate it, re-innovate it. And that's where, we are developing, and we are not doing any wastage in terms of, hey, I have done that and then I'm just selling it.
Hmm.
So the benefit what we had since beginning is, we had a set of clients, customers working with us on the day one ever since we started. And we are developing our product on the back of our client experience, not what we just believe, but what we think is what they want. And that's the differentiation we always believe in, and that's what something we will always continue doing that.
Hmm.
So we always had a great customers supporting us ever since we started, and it's a differentiation, I would say.
You came from that world. You were previously at Neil. Was it Nielsen,
I
Kantar, Millward
I
Brown?
I work for Nielsen. I work for Kantar. I work for Milbert Brown. I work for TNS. All the big
You've done it
players in the
all.
market. Yeah, yeah.
All the big research houses. But you
All the
left to
big.
start your business. Can I just go back to that point? Because it's often quite a good insight when, especially, and I know investors love finding out about founders and their origin myths and team. When you're hiring people, they want to know about how you got to this point. That point which you left the corporate world of research and decided to set up on your own. What was going through your mind then? Did you see something that was a problem that you wanted to fix, or you felt that now was the time to blossom on your own as a startup founder? What were the thoughts at that point?
I was always uh, by nature a disruptor, or someone who wants to do something of our own. So that's me. That's my character. So this is not my first startup. I had a startup quite early days when I started working for Nielsen in 2002 or three. In early days, I was very new to the market, and then I started and I failed badly. So a lookout for a right opportunity, and while working in multiple country, multiple roles with multiple, all these big guys, all the big players in the market, I realized, and obviously it's not me. I mean, that's where, I partnered with my co-founder, Paddy. So, there was always stress coming out from the customer, be it Milbert Brown or Nielsen. And so as I would say that they are still having the same issues that, hey, how do I get even more real-time data, more actionable insights? And I don't really want to invest that much. So you always been given a boundary to perform. And as a big player like Kantar or Nielsen, it's not easy to simply change because of the hierarchy, because of the global protocol, because of the big organization. So they always had a struggle. What do I do? How do I win it? So that was the click. Man, if they are struggling, what's going to happen? I mean, something they can't change it so easily. So definitely there is a need to disrupt. There is a need to invent, reinvent, and then come out of something which can offer something similar in a better price, more attractive, and then more actionable insights. And that's where I thought of that. Oh, this is a great opportunity to start and pick it.
And such Insights Club was born, which
And then that's the yeah.
that's the journey. Before we start on have a look at your pitch deck today, we're broadcasting live on YouTube. Do you have anybody watching live at the moment, MJ? Have you shared this around friends and family?
I have shared it to a couple of my guys. So
All right,
probably
I'll give you a chance to put a shout out to them because they're
yeah,
watching it this time. So go ahead. You
yeah.
want to say hi to
So
them?
hey guys, watch me and hear me on this Pitchdeck Asia podcast and the link which I have shared it to you guys.
Okay, well, they should already have that then if they're watching you.
Yes, yeah,
But give him a like. If you're watching on YouTube, then like the video because then YouTube will know that other
absolutely.
people can
Yeah,
discover it as
yeah,
well.
yeah.
Okay, so let's start by having a look at the pitch deck. And I want to do this sort of a bit back to front, if I may. So if Barrett, if we can get the pitch deck up and then we'll start. I want to start having a look at the clients first and then work backwards. So if we have a look at the clients, which is slide 28, I think, let's just jump there and then we'll work backwards in the pitch deck. This is the customer list to die for. You've
These are
got every,
these are some key customers. So we work with more than 40 customers at this time, Graham, across Malaysia and Singapore.
okay, so for those who can't see and are just listening, you just take your pick. You could throw a dart at this and pick any of these brands. You've got Colgate, Palmolive, you've got Suntory, you have OCBC on the financial side, Maxis, AirAsia, Dentsu, Aegis. You've got all of the large brands in there, and I've missed out brands like Grab, for example. So, it's an extensive network of what we'd call blue chip clients.
Absolutely. Yeah,
You obviously speak their language, which is really important in this game, isn't it? That, it's not just
absolutely.
about being a startup, but it's about appreciating their needs and their pain points. What do you think you see in these companies, their pain points with research now? I mean, you've worked with very resourced companies as your employers, and now you're going to these clients directly. What are they saying now? And my two questions would be, what are they saying about research now? And really what has happened in the last year, if I can say that, with the COVID situation, and how has that changed anything with research? So let's start again with what's the pain now with large corporates and research and insights?
It's a really a great question, and it's a question which is going to be always there in the market. So research is all about data, right? And data is a king, irrespective of your situation, irrespective of where we are, whether it's a pre-pandemic, whether it's a COVID, whether it's a bad time, uptime, downtime. You always going to need your data. Now, what form of data do I need in order to act and use and help in order to grow my business, right? So research has been there since ages. Now, there are different forms of research we are seeing month on month, year on year, and that it is evolving absolutely, in crazy. Now, uh, you know, I mean, obviously, what makes us different and what we see. I would not talk about the differentiation part because your question was more the pain points. Brands are still looking out because they still want to grow. The consumer sentiments, the consumer data, how do I reach out to them? Because everybody is trying to connect with the consumer, and the consumer is the king. They and then how do I help them connect with their consumer is what everybody is looking out for, and the brands are looking out for. So the time, I would say that the differentiation which I am seeing that versus past versus and now is you want something really, really fast. You want something really, really quick. Hey, I can't really wait for a month to know what my consumer sentiments because you are acting in a very real time. And that's where the difference and the change I'm seeing in the industry in last couple of years since I was working versus now I am working for my own startup. So it's more in a real time. It's more in a quick and at the same time you are much more informed, so you can't simply get away with some information, some data. It has to be more actionable information, which is something I want, and I want to use in my product development, packaging, decision making, managing my campaign of, and even understanding my brand perceptions, brand reputation. So it's all about more in real time, more actionable, and most important is understanding the consumer. The better you understand, the better you connect with them, and then the better you grow with that brand. So that's the kind of pen points they are still looking for, and that's where I think we are there quite okay.
When you talk about understanding the consumer, I'm curious what the understanding of the clients is these days, because do they know what kind of data they need? In the old days, often, you would know, I mean, I worked in that industry as well, is that you would run a focus group, you would feed a bunch of teenagers pizza, and they would come and you'd look at them through the glass even. But those days are over, right?
Yeah.
But I think one of the problems has always been that the insights managers within these large corporates or a marketing manager or a brand manager didn't necessarily know what data they needed. And, obviously companies like Satmetrics came along and said net promoter score, you need to measure recommendations. And that sort of gave people leadership and said, you need to measure this one metric. Where are we now with clients and metrics? Are they asking for specific data points? What's sort of happening now?
They are very smart now, and they know exactly what they want. They know a lot about their consumer data. They know a lot about insights. So the missing part is they always look for more specific. I'll give you an example. We do beverage tracking for one of the beverage brand, and they exactly want, hey, I want to track my channel. Where do they drink my beverage? How do they drink my beverage? When do they drink my beverage? And what triggers them to buy 100 ml pack versus 200 ml pack versus 2 liter pack versus 1.5 liter pack. So now the brands are they know a lot about it, because data, they have been, it's, you have very few new brands in the market. The brands are there since ages. So the time has gone where, you can, they are looking for recommendation, but they are more specific. They are more informed about what they are doing and what they want. And that's the smartness I'm seeing in the clients nowadays compared to 10 years or 5 years back.
Well, we'll have a look at your platform and the showcase in the pitch deck as well, and have a look a bit at how you deal with that. Just really before we sort of jump in, I guess that puts a lot of pressure on you. I mean, you've talked about the stress from the clients in the old days, like more and more real-time data, and now it's getting more and more specific.
Yeah.
And so I imagine for any kind of market research or insights provider, The challenge is getting that real specificity of data, isn't it? Is that how do I
That's
get
right.
right down to the granular and almost preempty what the client's going to come with next, get more granular than the client
That's
wants now, such
yeah,
that I'm one step ahead of them when they're
yeah,
ready.
yeah,
I'm there. I've got that
yeah,
data.
yeah.
So is that not for you or the whole research industry just a moving target that you have to get more and more specific? Or do you have to sort of say, okay, maybe we have to approach this from a different angle now? That actually, if we just get more and more micro, it's going to get harder and harder. And
Yeah.
give me the top level of that, how you see the problem or how you think about the problem of getting more and more real-time data for your clients and how maybe you do it differently being a disruptor to other people.
So, it's all about digital. Now we all are in a digital era because everybody is using mobile phone, everybody is using internet, right? So, I mean, the time has gone where I need to ask Graham, hey, what do you do? I
Mm,
know a lot many information about Graham without I ask you. And that's the smartness, that's the, smartness or the benefit of the technology to get that information and then use it while I'm analyzing people like Graham and bring those pieces and then I can be more real time because I am not depending upon anybody. It's a technology helping us to get those informations and that's where we are smartly playing on our mobile app where we have started acquiring users to install our mobile app and then get a lot more passive information, a lot more behavioral information. And that's the differentiation and that's the smartness I would say we have been playing on since we started. So what we play and what we do, Graham, is we have a mobile app where we ask user to install it and then we access a lot more behavioral information. So I know what do you consume,
mm,
what content do you watch, what is your browser history, what kind of mobile app do you spend, or your ride hailing services, can be food delivery services, can be e-commerce purchase, can be your location, where do you go, and that gives us almost 70-80% of the information about a person or a persona or a consumer behavior. And we bring all these information and then we analyze it in a very structured way and create more solution based on business which marketeers are looking for. So say if I am looking to develop some sort of product or new packaging or new concept for my probably or maybe I want to understand my consumer uh, perception. I want to understand about my market reputation, brand build. So I use relevant information and I give it to them specifically what they are looking for, and that's the differentiation we are trying to bring using technology.
yeah. Okay. Well, let's have a look. Let's jump into the pitch deck if we can and have a look at some of that. If we go right back, I think you've already talked about this now. You've mentioned it. This is a key part of your value proposition. If we go to slide 3 on the pitch deck, Barrett, and have a look at that, go right to the top. And you've already mentioned it. You've mentioned about the problem and how you view it differently as being what I do versus what I say.
Yeah.
And to somebody who's not in the research industry, maybe this is not a big deal, but I think you've placed a lot of emphasis in your approach, haven't you? Is that actually you've mentioned, for example, passive data collection, which I guess is what I'm doing, as opposed to the active stuff, which is I say I like this brand, this brand, this brand. Maybe you can help us understand some of the concepts. You talk about passive and behavioral, and
Yeah.
this slide
Yeah.
as well that we're looking at. So put it all into a nice synopsis for us.
I think, see, I would say that, there are some difference between what you do versus what you say. So I'll tell you the difference. Say Graham is a very health conscious person and you plan to go to gym twice in a week, but do you really go? That's
Hmm.
your plan, right? So sometimes your claim is not your actual data. That's your perception. That's what you plan for. But yeah, your actual data is what you consume, what you use, what you do. So I would say, hey, what do I like to watch? Probably I like to watch maybe hundreds of drama type. But do I really watch all those drama? Versus what do I really consume every day is what makes me actual. I'm seeing my consumer really the way they consume, the way they are looking for the information. Say, so it is not the same what we claim, what we expect, and the way we behave in reality. So that's the differentiation we are trying to bring by accessing passive behavioral information, and we do some task where we also ask you to say something like, what do you buy? So I will tell you to, whenever you buy something, just snap that image and then upload it into my product, and probably I will know actually what are you consuming. So I do lot many things more on task, hyperlocal activity based task, and that's where it brings us in a different position from others, and it also allows us to be more real time, because I don't depend too much on collecting information, because when the moment you will start collecting, you will need probably some extra time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. and
Okay.
and and from the consumer side, I mean, Grab, not Grab is not a right example. I would say Facebook. Take example of Facebook. Take example of Google. They are using your data for whatever purpose,
Mm-hmm.
but they don't incentivize you for anything, right? Where we allow our consumer to let us use your the information and let me pay you back. The more I use, the more I pay you, and that's where they feel more empowered. That's where they see more transparent, where my data is being used and how I am helping brands, or category, or the category I consume, or the category I want to consume, probably in a better offerings. So we are trying to bring more consumer in center using our approach.
Right. We'll have a look at the app in a minute. I want to ask you about that. Just a couple of things. Firstly, at the beginning, talking about the difference between, let's say you've got a customer who says they, you know, when surveyed, they tell you that they watch documentaries and education, but really they spend all the time watching Korean soap operas, right? As an
Yeah,
example, that's very typical.
yeah.
Do you see very obvious differences in consumer psychology, like how we like to portray ourselves and the
It's a lot.
reality?
It's a lot of difference.
Yeah, what sort of
Yeah.
typically where does it happen? And
You
like
know, I mean, I
results.
mean, I would say that we are doing a lot more consumer-centric research, and for usage, understanding of the user, consumer behavior, and in terms of the brand reputation. I do see that when your perception can be really big, really great, because that's your social status. But
Mm,
in reality, I'll ask you a question, Graham. How much do you earn? Probably that's
yeah,
something you will overclaim, or you will try to be very politically correct,
yeah,
look good.
yeah.
you know I mean, many are cases where you ask certain information. Hey, what do you do? Oh, I want to look good, let me ask. Our claim, that's the consumer sentiment, right? Versus, do I really do it, is what makes me more real.
Historically, that's how we've always done it, though, isn't it? We've done focus group surveys or
But there has
poll,
been, the time has come to change, you
right?
know. Yeah, and brands are looking for, I wouldn't say that everything is going to change in a day, in a month, in a
Mm-hmm.
year, but definitely in coming years or years, probably we are going to capture the market slowly, and people are looking for that sort of more information eventually.
Mm-hmm.
It's a niche, but definitely it's what they are looking for.
And I notice as well in your pitch deck, and we'll come to it, is that you still do focus group like activities as well, where you actually interview people directly. So there is a place for that. It's different to what it used to be, but maybe we can have a look at that as well. Let's jump back in. If we can have a look at slide 5 and 6. So let's start with 5, because this actually gives people an idea of the app. If we scroll down a little bit here. So this is the mobile app,
Yeah, yeah,
which
that's true.
so basically you're building traditionally what this would be called is a panel. Are these organized differently? In the old days, I remember panels, where they
That's
have like, a million
yes.
people or 1,000 people. And it's typically they were used for surveying teenagers about the kind
Yes.
of
Yeah.
media
Yeah.
that they would
Yeah.
use.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Is that still alive as a concept? Panels? Is this like panel version 2, or is it very different?
I would say that this is more upgraded version of the panel. Eventually, this is going to be more like a maintained panel. But see, your panel is very transactional panel. You ask someone to participate, and they participate, and then you just keep it, and then you incentivize it. What we are building is, it's going to be a panel, but this is more like a engaged panel where the consumers are actively participating in. So it's more like a same information is being used for multiple telcos, multiple FMCG, multiple beverages. So that's where I'm getting best output from using same information for multiple brands in the same category. And that's where it gives me a lot more efficiency, it gives me much more real time, it gives me much more accuracy in terms of information, because I know that person exists, I know there is a history behind it, I know there is activity behind it, and I do interact with that person always. So that's the bit of a different approach. But yeah, I would say that this is more than a panel, but not just panel. So this
Right.
is, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. In the old days, I guess a client would have said, ask these 20 questions. Then you would
Yes.
have done that to a panel. But now you're asking a whole bunch of questions and then you're sharing that with
Yeah.
the clients. Okay.
Yeah.
A group
So
of
so
clients.
we still interact with a lot of panel people, and that's where you're seeing such a big number, big jump, which is where we started in 2018 early days. So we still interact with panel when it comes to getting information, getting our algorithm, understand much more about behavior, much more about sentiments. But eventually, in I think 2019 onwards, we have started building our mobile app, and then that's where we want to connect people, not just claim information, but also behavioral information, where I can reduce consumer participation, or
Mm.
you participating or you answering me versus I access it by default, and then I pay you in return as an incentive for giving me access to those information. So we have started building it in mid 2019, and we fully launched it in Q1 this year.
Okay. And you got some numbers here as well. If we can bring that slide back up, and we can probably talk through this if it's just for audio as well. That slide you were showing
So,
there.
so we have quite a good partnership with lot more panel providers in the market, and then we produce more than 3x numbers in most of the country we operate in. And when it comes to mobile app, we have developed 100,000 users in Malaysia and Singapore in last 7-8 months. Yeah.
These numbers here, are these with partner panels as well? Or we got here on the consumer panels, you've got, for example, 11 million in China.
It's
4
our
million.
partner panel. Yeah, that's true. It includes of our partner panels. Yeah.
Got it. Okay. So
Yeah.
for you, the growth really is now in building out the mobile app and taking that into these markets, for example.
Absolute. Absolute.
Okay. Interesting. So, okay, fine. We're done with this slide. So I think, what's kind of interesting is like the journey that you've taken. Like when obviously we met at Murudi, you were a startup who was focused on research, servicing these clients. And in 2019, you built this mobile app. And that's really grown this year, especially with the pandemic happening. I guess that's given you a platform you wouldn't normally have had. You wouldn't have had access like you would have had years ago. Moving forward, obviously, the mobile is a key part of this. What do you know now about research 3 years into your journey as a startup that you didn't know when you started? What have you learned? You had some hypotheses when you started in 2017, 18, and now you're here in a different place, evolved. What has changed for you as a business? What do you know differently?
I mean, see, we work for B2C brands, right? We work for all the big, small enterprises. And what I have learned in couple of years ever since we started from where we started in 2018 early days. I think brands are not looking for your technology as a solution. They are looking for their business problems. So I can't sell my platform. I can't sell my technology. That's for me. That's not for them. So they are still looking for, hey, I have idea screening stuff. I have a UNA to go. I have a packaging test to be done. I have a product testing to be done. I have a campaign to launch. So I want to measure my effectiveness of the campaign. So how do I use my technology to answer these questions is what they are looking for. So they are still looking for the answers, not the technology. Hey, I have developed a technology which will give you X, Y, Z, A, B, C. Oh, that's for you, man. I'm not interested, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, so that's a bit of a change. So technology is for good, but how do I answer these questions using my technology is what I have learned.
How do you sell that then to a client that obviously you have great technology and you've got good insight and experience? What's the sort of sales process like for you with these large corporates? What do you do? How does it work for you? What works successfully? Because you're not going in and saying, "Hey, we've got this mobile app and a platform."
Yeah.
I imagine a lot of it is just listening to them and listening to what their problems are. How does it
Mm.
work for you? What's the sales
So
process like?
So mostly, our sales are done through many channels. So we do some digital marketing on LinkedIn. We do some conference sponsorship and we speak, we present, we bring our customer together on some of the work which we have done, and then we go to present where it's not just I am sharing my technology, but I am also sharing how this has helped our customers. So we have partnered with brand like Colgate in past to co-present. We have partnered with ClubMate. We have partnered with AirAsia. We have partnered recently with British American Tobacco, Kimberly Clark. So our approach has been always not to sell what I do. Let me bring someone who has used me and let's hear it from them. So I talk about my technology and then let's hear from the brands who has used, who has worked, and then how it has helped. That has been really a great uh, approach ever since we started in terms of acquiring and then bringing that trust, bringing that confidence in the new customers. And then we usually do our usual enterprise approach where you connect through LinkedIn, you send them some your brochures, you have a cold call, you understand, and then they send you a business issue, business research brief, and then we kind of tell them, hey, look, this is our new approach in order to do it. And I'll tell you a story. Just yesterday, I was having a chat with one of the top beverage brand in Asia, and the marketing director was impressed with our approach in terms of understanding idea screening approach of InsightzClub versus the proposal they have received from rest of the big players. So what we do, we don't want to copy paste what people are doing. We don't want to simply give them, hey, I always offer more than what you are looking for, which is where it's more like a holistic picture, more actionable, and a more understanding of the consumer, which can help you to develop your product, design your campaign, and plan your marketing strategy even better.
Yeah, that approach of working with your customer to co-present as well.
Absolutely,
I mean, that's
absolutely.
great advice for any startup founder out there as well, isn't it? Anybody who's sort of looking at you and thinking, how do I, my location app, my marketing app, or whatever it is that they're doing,
Yeah.
especially if it's an enterprise sale, learn from that approach. I suppose they'll ask, like, what's in it for the client? Why would they want to do it? Why would a client want to partner with you and give away the secrets in a conference, for example?
I mean that's where it's a confidence, right? It's nothing secret. It's the way they have used and then how it has helped them in decision making, in terms of getting efficiency in the team, right? The brands are also looking for efficiency. When I talk about in traditional way, hey, I would need probably 1 or 2 days to design my research brief. Then I'll send it to the agency, and then the agency will probably take about a week to come back, another 2 weeks to propose, and then it takes really long. And so it works both way, right? It's not from the agency side, it's also from the brand side that you are taking lot much of their time to work with you on very it's a long process, right? So it helps them, hey, you are in control, you just get it right. just use and see what's in it for you. So it works well for them in terms of efficiency. And everybody is looking for it, right?
Absolutely. Save time. Where does it go from here, MJ? What's the plan? Obviously, we've talked about the app as a big part of that, and we talked about expansion. Tell me about your expansion plans. Are you hiring? Are you raising funds? What's public at the moment?
Uh, See, we were planning to raise funds this year, earlier this year.
Mm.
Obviously, we want to scale, we want to grow, we have lots of plans. But because of the pandemic, we thought of holding it because market is not ready, and then it has also helped us fine tune, pivot our offerings. So lot many changes we have done in our platform, lot many changes we have done in our solution. So we have come out with some new solution which can help brand understand consumer journey real time, like a subscription based model, not just ask for it, but you have it and then you subscribe it. So
Mm.
that's something we have developed. We have also developed an ad tracking campaign for all the brands where you can access my subscription of the ad tracking data, and then you get access to all your advertising, all your campaign. Not only yours, you will also know about your competitor, and that's where we will, expand our more revenue on subscription. So the plans are definitely scaled. So we have a partnership recently with ADA Bangladesh. So we have expanded our base to Bangladesh through our ADA Asiata Digital Services in Bangladesh. And we have our plans to start and get it going in Indonesia and Vietnam and Thailand next year. So that's the key thing which we are looking for in terms of market expansion. We are also looking to acquire more than a million user in mobile app in next 6 to 8 months time. So that's going to be a big differentiation in terms of building our subscription based model.
Okay. And staffing wise, are you expanding? Are you hiring? Because sometimes people watch this and they think, I want to work with these guys. They sound like they're
We
building
are
something.
hiring. We are hiring. Always we are. We have hired a customer success manager last week, and
Okay.
we have, yeah. So we are hiring in Singapore. We are hiring in Malaysia. We are in conversation with some of the big guys in Indonesia, because I need to start with a big and then we will
Yeah.
hire more. So even in Indonesia and in Thailand and in Vietnam, so we are hiring and we will hire. A lot more hiring is going to be in Q1, Q2 next year.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. And in particular, any hard skills that you're looking for?
We are looking for a mixed set of people. So we are looking for some a mobile app developer. We are looking for a community manager. We are looking for customer success manager and senior manager and even director. And we are also looking for few sales guys in these markets. So
Mm-hmm.
some business development head or the guys. Yeah.
Yeah. And you've mentioned all the markets as well. So anybody who's listening, who's thinking,
Please do click, do contact us on
yeah,
LinkedIn, Facebook, on any which way if you are looking or if you are interested to work with a growing startup. We have grown during even pandemic time.
mm,
So, it's a proven, and we do work with some of the blue chip brands in the market, and then we are growing a lot working with them. So yeah, it's a great place to work with, guys. So please come.
yeah,
Join us. Yeah.
you can feel the energy,
Yeah.
exactly, the
I do.
enthusiasm.
Yeah.
What is the best way for people to contact you, MJ? How do you like people to reach out? LinkedIn, email,
I,
website?
I would say that just hit us on LinkedIn
Yeah,
or drop us an email, and we will be reaching out to you for further discussion.
yeah, fantastic. Well, there you go. I mean, it's a great story, and I'm really pleased to see that you're thriving in the pandemic. It's not easy right now. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of startups out there who relied on the next round of funding to stay afloat.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, things have been put on hold. And that has meant that some startups have disappeared, especially, in the tech space, right? So I think the fact that you're thriving as well, you're still hiring is a great sign. You're still expanding. As they say, I mean, the best time to start a startup is often during a recession or a pandemic, right? Because that's when, people
Yeah,
have a look around. I'm
yeah,
sure your clients now are probably thinking that this is creating an urgency to shift in your direction, right?
absolutely. Yeah.
Which is,
I think, there was a need of an alternate methodology in the market for quite some time. But, because of the, I'm happy with what I'm doing, I don't need to change.
mm,
But this pandemic has forced them to think, and to some extent, not just think, to use. And it's a experience what makes your decision, and then change your decision. So I think the pandemic has been really great experience, and I would say that we onboarded some of the new customers during the pandemic time.
well, that's a good sign.
So, and I
Yeah.
know the best part is we didn't do much of a marketing. It was referral from the
Yeah.
existing customers. So I think that's a brilliant.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's a good sign, isn't it?
Yeah,
That there's
yeah,
more to come as well. It's
yeah,
creating that urgency that's shifting people across to your way of thinking. That may
yeah,
may have taken 2 to 5 years, right?
yeah, yeah,
But
yeah,
now it's creating that sort of energy
yeah,
that people
yeah,
now need to do this
yeah,
because things have changed.
yeah.
Well, that's great, and thanks for sharing your story today, MJ. It's good to see you again,
It
and
was
hopefully,
pleasure. Yeah, yeah. It was
yeah,
always. Yeah.
we're going to get an update, I'm sure, next year sometime and see where you are. All those
I,
predictions that you made,
yeah,
you
yeah,
put those numbers out there, 1 million users. I'm going to write those down and remember
yeah,
them, hold
yeah,
you to
yeah.
tasks.
Yeah, yep, yeah. I
Good.
think we are quite confident, Graham. We are very confident. We have been doing pretty well ever since we started. We did quite well so far, and what makes me continue doing and continue focus is what we deliver month on month. When I solve, when I acquire, when I get
Mm.
new customer, when I deliver, I have higher revenue, and when I say my people are happy doing what they are doing, so people retention. So we managed to keep all the guys which we have hired even last 1.5 year or 2 years. So that makes us, hey, we are in a right direction. So let's keep on doing. Let's keep on giving our best. So we will keep on doing it, and then I think we are confident of making it a big disruption, and really a good change for the industry. And what we want, definitely we want to give a better experience of using insights to the customer, because that experience is what makes them use or not to use. So I think that's what we are working for.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
MJ Kumar from InsightzClub, everybody. And we welcome him back and looking forward to a future episode where we keep that momentum going, MJ. Thanks for joining us today. Really appreciate that. And thanks to everybody who is watching all over Asia and maybe beyond. If you enjoyed this conversation with MJ, then obviously you can reach out to him. You can easily Google the man. It's a unique name, so that will come up. Find him on LinkedIn, find the team, find the Insights Club website. Do you want to give a shout out to the website URL just so that people can spell it right?
Hey guys, please look out for www.insightsclub.com. It's InsightsClub.com, and look out for us. And happy to have you and have a conversation to discuss any sort of opportunity.
Excellent. There you go. Thank you. All the best. And we'll see you soon. You've been watching Pitchdeck Asia. My name's Graham Brown. Thank you very much, everybody. Take care.